External recruiting. What is external recruiting? It is the filling a job vacancy with an employee from outside the company, rather than promoting or transferring existing employee from within. When an organization has exhausted its internal supply of applicants, it must turn to external sources to supplement its workforce. Research indicates that walk-ins provide an important external source of applicants. As labor shortages increase, however, organizations are becoming more proactive in their recruitment efforts. A number of methods are available for external recruiting, and these are media advertising, e-recruiting, social media, employment agencies, executive search firms, special events recruiting, and summer internships. What is media advertisement? This means newspaper and magazine advertising, radio and television advertising, and outdoor advertising, including production services and copywriting services. Why do organizations advertise? Organizations advertise to acquire recruits. Various media are used. The most common traditional form being help-wanted ads in daily newspapers. Organizations also advertise for people in trade and professional publications. Other media used are billboards, subway and bus ads, pop-up ads on the internet, radio, and television. Some job seekers do a reverse twist. They advertise for a situation wanted and reward anyone who tips them off about a job. As I mentioned a while back, help-wanted ads is the most common traditional form of advertisement. What is help-wanted ads? Help-wanted ads is used to solicit hired help and typically runs in the classified section of newspapers, publications, and internet classified ads. Help-wanted ads must be carefully prepared. Media must be chosen, coded for study, and analyzed for impact afterward. If the organization's name is not used and a box number is substituted, the impact may not be as great, but if the name is used, too many applicants may appear and screening procedures for too many people can be costly. This is a difficult decision to make in preparing recruitment advertisements. In addition, ads need to comply with EEO requirements or equal employment opportunity and not violate the law. For example, Asian recruiters find that including diversity in recruitment ads help attract more employees from diverse populations. Ads need to be written to avoid indicating preferences for particular race, religion, or gender, or a particular place of national origin. E-recruiting. This is also known as online recruitment, and this also refers to the use of web-based technology for various processes of attracting, assessing, selecting, recruiting, and onboarding job candidates. This also makes employers reach large number of potential employees. Perhaps no method has ever had as revolutionary an effect of organizational recruitment practices as the internet. According to Forrester Research of Cambridge, Massachusetts, there are approximately 30,000 different websites devoted in some manner to job posting and activities, and approximately 71% of all job listings on just a handful of the big boards such as Monster, Career Builder, and America's Job Bank. Some of the large job placement websites have reported large numbers of resumes posted and searches conducted on a daily basis. For example, Monster.com reports that job seekers post over 25,000 new resumes each day and host 46 million visitors globally each month. And CareerBuilder.com states that its website has 1 million job posts and hosts 23 million unique visitors each month. Overall, the e-recruiting market in the United States has grown rapidly from just $500 million in 2000 to nearly $6 billion in 2007. Quite obviously, the internet has become one of the most prominent of all worldwide recruiting methods. It is no wonder why it has been estimated that over 95% of all U.S. companies now utilize the internet for some or all of their recruitment-related activities. Recruiting and social networking sites. Many organizations from colleges to companies are experimenting with the use of social networking sites like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn to recruit applicants. According to a 2010 survey of 2,500 employers by CareerBuilder, 21% of companies use social media to recruit potential employees. One of the primary goals of this organization is to engage and connect with members of the millennial or not generation, or those who were born between 1978 and 1997, and those who spent a considerable amount of time using social media sites. The potential payoff to this organization is to attract the best candidates from the potentially largest applicant pools in the world. It is clearly the use of social networking sites like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn is an exciting addition to the field of external recruitment. While technology is exciting and had considerable potential to attract potentially strong candidates from huge applicant pools, it should be seen as a supplement and not a substitute for a well-established and effective recruiting program. Employment agencies and executive search firms. Although similar in purpose, employment agencies and executive search firms differ in many important ways. Executive search firms tend to concentrate their efforts on higher-level managerial positions with salaries in excess of $50,000, while agencies deal primarily with middle-level management or below. Most executive search firms are on retainer, which means that the organization pays them only when they have actually provided a new hire. Finally, executive search firms usually charge higher fees for their services. One of the reasons that organizations are willing to pay these higher fees is that executive search firms frequently engage in their recruiting efforts while maintaining the confidentiality of the both recruiting organization and the person being recruited. Special event recruiting. When the supply of employees available is not large, or when the organization is new or not well known, some organizations have successfully used special events to attract potential employees. They may stage open houses, schedule visits to headquarters, provide literature, and advertise these events in appropriate media. To attract professionals, organizations may have hospitality suites at professional meetings. Executives also make speech at association, meeting, or in schools to get the organization's image across. Ford Motor Company has conducted symposia on college campuses and sponsored cultural events to attract attention to its qualifications as a good employer. Summer internships. Another approach to recruiting and getting specialized work done that has been tried by organizations is to hire students as interns during summer or part-time during the school year. The list of organizations using internship is extensive. It includes AT&T, General Motors, most major accounting firms, the life insurance industry, and so forth. The use of internship is, in fact, dramatically increasing. Some estimates suggest that nearly one of every 3 students at 4-year universities will have one or more internships experience before graduation. Internship programs has a number of purposes. They allow organizations to get specific projects done, expose themselves to talented potential employees who may become their recruiters at school, and provide trial run employment to determine if they want to hire particular people full-time. According to a 2009 survey by the National Association of Colleges and Employers, approximately 70% of graduating students while internship experience receive full-time employment from their internship host. College recruiting. There is growing gap between the skills that organizations will need over the next several years and those currently possessed by potential employees. College recruiting can be extremely difficult, time-consuming, and expensive for the organization. Nonetheless, recruiters generally believe that college recruiting is one of the most effective ways of identifying talented employees. All this suggests that college recruiting will continue to play an important role in an organization's overall recruitment strategies, but that organizations will be careful about controlling expenses. The college recruiting purpose or process is similar in some ways to other recruiting. However, in college recruiting, the organization sends an employee, usually called a recruiter, to a campus to interview candidates and describe the organization to them. Coinciding with the visit, brochures and other literature about the organization are often distributed. The organization may also run ads to attract students or may conduct seminars at which company executives talks about various phases of the organization. The effective college recruiter. Various people influence the applicant during the process of choosing a job. Peers, family, spouse, friends, and professors. One of the most important influences remains, however, the recruiter. The recruiter is the filter and the matcher, the one who is actually seen by the applicants and is viewed as an extension of the organization. The recruiter seems as a primary example of the kind of person the organization values and wants to attract in the future. For these reasons, recruiter must be carefully chosen by the organization. They must be outgoing, self-motivated, and obviously good salespeople. Students prefer recruiters who have work experience in their specialties and have some personal knowledge of the university they are visiting. Recruiters do make a difference when they do not present themselves. In this case, they have a negative effect on applicants even when the job and the organization are both appealing.
So let's talk about realistic job interview, also known as RJP. So what is realistic job interview? A realistic job interview provides prospective employee with pertinent information about the job without distortions or exaggeration. It can increase job commitment and satisfaction, and it also lower initial turnover. To increase employee job satisfaction and reduce turnover, managers should be considered realistic job interview, which is one that includes both positive and negative about the job and the company. Realistic job interview can also lower unrealistic expectation and provide an informative illustration of jobs ideas as well as related stress and problems.
The realistic job review present the full picture warts and all as suggested in Exhibit 7 to 3. Exhibit 7 to 3 present the full or the typical consequence of traditional previews versus realistic previews. Here in traditional previews, first, they set initial job expectation too high. The word expectation too high, or it sounds like high standard of a company. Next, job is typically viewed as attractive, stimulating, and challenging. The job they offer is based on the pattern or traditional procedure that the job they offer is more on attractive, stimulating, and challenging. Next, high rate of acceptance of job offering. The word high rate of acceptance, there is high percentage of applicants who accept the job offering of the company. Next, work experience disconfirm the expectation. One of the applicants or some applicants, their expectation not confirm what the work they doing when they become a employee. Next, dissatisfaction and realization that job is not much to need. They not satisfied because they really know the realization that the work they apply is not much then when they become a employee of that company. Next, low job survival, dissatisfaction, frequent thoughts in quitting. The word frequent, madalas na nating nasasabi pag nasasabing gusto mo mag-quit kasi you're not satisfied with the work that you have. And it's hard to survive that if the job is not related on what did the company or the interviewer said in the description, what they interviewing you. Then, at the moment, the what you're doing is not related to that interview. Next, we go in traditional previews. First, set job expectation realization. The expectation of that company is based on the needs and needs of the company. Next, job may or may not attractive, but it depends on the individual needs. I guess it's very explanatory. Next, some accept and some reject of the applicants to accept that job offering. Next, expectation, works experience confirm the expectation. The expectation of individual confirm the work in the description when they become a employee of the company. Next, satisfaction needs much to the job. You're satisfied because the work you need in the job is capable on the description when the interviewing moment. Next, lastly, high job survival satisfaction, infrequent thoughts in quitting. Madalas, di ba madalas doon sa frequent? Dito naman sa kabila, sa realistic preview, infrequent, madalang, na masabi ng employee na gusto niya na mag-quit. And because of satisfying that the job is related on the description when they interview. Some pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer have been known to encourage job candidates to accompany or shadow one of the firm's sales representative to experience firsthand what job like or what is job like. Although typically reserved for the final 2 or 3 candidates for the sales position, this provides candidates what is realistic picture of what pharmaceutical sales representative does each day, whether it's call on doctor, restocking sample, completing company's paperwork, digging for the competitive information, and the like. In other companies, a realistic job preview may consist only the interviewer discussing the positive and negative aspect of the company as a question. A study conducted at Southern New England Telephone or AT&E's Prudential Insurance Corporation taxes instrumented that U.S. Military or U.S. Military Academy have used the report on the realistic job reviews. The results indicate that newly hired employees who receive realistic job reviews have a higher rate of job survival than those hired using the traditional reviews. Employees hired after the realistic job reviews indicate higher satisfaction. Realistic job can set job expectation of new employees at a realistic level. Realistic jobs do not reduce the flow of highly capable applicants. Next, the realistic job find the realistic job find as suggested that can be used as an inoculating against the disappointment of with the realistic job. At this stage of development, whether there is no conclusion evidence supporting the effectiveness of realistic job reviews, although it seems clear that realistic job reviews can have beneficial effects, at present there is still uncertainty as to why realistic jobs have the effect they do and in what context they are likely to be most effective. That's all. Thank you. That's all my fun.
Alternatives to recruitment. An organization's human resource plan may suggest that additional or replacement employees are needed. However, because of the cost and permanence of recruiting individuals, an alternative to recruitment may be used. Overtime. When a firm faces pressures to meet a production goal, it may mean that employees need to work overtime. By having employees work overtime, organizations avoid the cost of recruiting and having additional employees. Overtime can also provide employees with additional income. However, there are potential problems: fatigue, increased accidents, and increased absenteeism. On a limited short-term basis, having some employees work overtime may be an alternative to recruitment. Continuous overtime through has often resulted in higher labor costs and reduced productivity. Outsourcing. Outsourcing, sometimes called staff sourcing, involves paying a fee to a leasing company or professional employer organization (PEO) that handles payroll, employee benefits, and routine human resource management function for the client company. The cost per employee of such a service is between $700 and $2,000 per year. Leasing is especially attractive to small and mid-sized firms that might not otherwise be able to afford a full-service human resource department. But while small business can expect to save from 15 to 30% of benefit costs such as health insurance premiums, temporary employment. One of the most noticeable effects of the downsizing epidemic and the labor shortage of the past 2 decades has been a dramatic rise in the use of temporary employees. Historically, temporary employment agencies were seen only as sources of semi-skilled clerical help during peak work periods. Today, just in time, employees can be found staffing all types of jobs in organizations including professional, technical, and high executive positions. For example, H&R. Black hired additional 39,000 temporary professionals to help customers file their income tax returns in 2005. Large temporary employment agencies like Manpower, Kelly Services, and Adecco not only provide temps to large companies that also target their services to small and medium-sized organizations that spend about 25 billion a year on temp workers. The major advantage of temporary employees include relatively low labor costs, uneasily accessible of experienced labor, and flexibility in responding to future change in the demand for workers. The cost advantage of using temporary help stems from the fact that time organization does not provide fringe benefits, training, or compensation and career plan. The temporary workers and move in and out of the firm when the workload requires such movement. A disadvantage of hiring temporary help is that these individuals do not know the culture or workflow of the firm. This unfamiliarity detracts from their commitment to organizational and departmental goals.
CBA is a process for evaluating the merits of a particular project in a systematic way in terms of cost and benefits of the project. Cost is the value of money that has been used up to produce something and hence is not available for use anymore. Benefit are the monetary values of desirable consequence of economic policies and decisions. The conceptual and theoretical framework or CBA is derived from welfare economics. Cost-benefit analysis. Cost-benefit analysis (CBA) is an economic evaluation technique that measures all the positive, beneficial, and negative costly consequences of an intervention or program in monetary terms. The evaluation of all program outcomes in monetary units allows decision makers to directly compare the outcomes of different types of interventions.